Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. We have a fabulous guest with us today, Danny DelVecchio. He is an entrepreneur. He is a digital creator. He creates stress-free systems so you can do some pretty amazing things too. And he's a salsa dancer. He's a cook, a chef, if you will, specifically Italian, and he does make his own pasta. And we bonded over the fact that neither one of us has ever had a cup of coffee. And today, he is our guest on Productive Joy. Danny, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Me too. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you chose to be on Productive Joy. And I know we're going to have a good time, but we have to convince the people listening that we're going to have a good time. So what would you say to them to make them go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear this episode?
Oh man, this is a tough one. So I've been on a lot of podcasts before, and I have had my own podcasts before. And I once had a podcast that got 500,000 listeners, and it was a hobby, and I made $0 from it. But I learned a lot, and that's all the stuff that I use in my business today. So maybe that's interesting enough to keep people around.
Oh, that's pretty interesting for sure. And you mentioned something to me earlier about the difference between being a content creator and being an influencer. And I really feel like that is important because every one of us is putting our brand out there all the time, whether we mean to be or not. So we can either be intentional or we can be accidental with that. And I'm guessing you kind of help people with that a little bit. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's sort of what I do for a living. I am fortunate enough that I get to basically interview experts for a living and help them turn their expertise into content.
That sounds fun. So, but you didn't start here. You got here. So before we talk deeply about what it is that you do now, how did you get here? Like what journey led you to this space?
Okay, I'm going to try to make a really long story short.
Oh, that's exciting.
So I have a sales background. I have 20 years in sales. I started in retail. I was a sales rep. I worked my way up. I went to B2B sales. Then I became a sales manager, a sales director, sales trainer. So all things sales, right? 2016, I decided that I wanted to do something creative. And I started a podcast. And I did this podcast, and I grew, like I said, I grew it. It did really well. My podcast was about a TV show called Impractical Jokers. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes, I absolutely have.
Okay, so this was the time of like Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad. And I was looking up podcasts, and I noticed that there are like hundreds, if not thousands, of Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones podcasts. And I'm like, I wonder if my favorite TV show has a podcast about it. And it did not. Though I started one. 500,000 listeners later.
Crazy.
Yeah. So 60 episodes, 500,000 listeners. We had so many cool people from the show that came on as guests. So we had the executive producer, Pete McPartland. We had James Murray, which is one of the stars of the show. We had multiple of the comedians that were comedy producers and writers for the show. So it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, made $0 from it. I had to stop the podcasts because I had a co-host who he couldn't do it any longer. And then I was traveling a lot for work and I couldn't really keep up with it. So kind of put that on the back burner. Fast forward now, 2022, I want to get out of corporate sales life and I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own thing. So I did what all of us do. I became a coach.
I understand. Yes.
Yep. And I started coaching people on the two things that I was good at, sales and social media, because the podcast, so I forgot to mention that I grew the entire podcast all through about social media.
Oh,
I grew the podcast to the 500,000 listeners all organically through social media, which is an important thing that I forgot to mention.
That is a very important thing that you forgot to mention. Okay.
So those are the two skills I was really good at, sales and social media. So when I started coaching people, I started coaching them on those two things, helping them build a presence on social media so that they can ultimately make sales and drive revenue to their business. Right. And when I was working with my coaching clients, I kept telling them the same thing. You need to make videos, you need to make videos, you need to make videos. I'm like, this is going to be the way that you set yourself apart. This is the way that you're going to differentiate yourself from all the other people that are out there who are doing the same thing and are promising similar results. People want to, we're in the creator economy. People want to work with people that they feel connected to, right? So my clients were like, yes, Danny, I agree with you. Video is really important. However, it's also really hard. And it's hard for people for a number of reasons, right? I mean, there's just people that are not comfortable on camera. I don't think you and I share that problem, but
No, I mean, it's the
many people do.
coffee. The lack of coffee makes us really good in front of the camera. See?
That could be it. That
Could
could
be.
that
I
that
don't
could
think.
have. We'll see if that has something to do with it. We'll have to survey some more people that don't also drink coffee and see if they're not scared of camera. That's one thing. And then there's also just like I run a business. I don't have time to be like jumping on camera and creating videos all the time. And then there's the most common thing, which is like I really don't know what the heck to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I do I need an iPhone? Do I use my do I need a camera? Where do I record? How do I get captions? Do I even need captions? How long do my videos need to be? Where do I post? There's just so much that goes into it that it becomes overwhelming for people. So they just don't do it.
Sure.
So I set out to kind of solve all three of those problems with one solution for my clients. And I was like, how can I create, a program where I can deliver high quality video content, do it in a really short period of time, and do it in a way that people could just be comfortable and talk about themselves and talk about their business and what they're doing for their clients and not feel like, it's overwhelming or stressful to them,
Yeah.
right? And that's how video on easy mode was born, right? And that's so basically what I do is I bring people into a virtual studio. I interview them. I do a lot of research about their business and their target market. And I help them to create content that is high quality, content that they're like proud and happy to share and do it really quickly, like an hour a month, gives them a month worth of content. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's been pretty cool. And had the business now for like 2.5 years. And I've done this with over 200 people.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, you've been very busy because there's not all that many days. That 200 clients is impressive. And what I heard that I think our listeners will appreciate is that you did this by trial and error, right? You figured it
Sure.
out, and then you got really good at something, and you took that something that you were good at, and now you're helping others get good at that something. And this is something that all of us do in some capacity, right? Now, I'm not saying everybody's on social media, but many people are either on it socially or they're trying to grow a business on it. And you
Right.
give these practical, wonderful pieces of advice to people and help them build it. I think that's pretty special. So well done on you for taking
Oh, well, thank you.
talents and putting them into something people could use. That's pretty great. What's the number one thing that stops people from going this route? And I know you said they get overwhelmed and all that, but I guarantee there's something that stops people from being successful in this space. What is it?
Yeah, they're just fear of being judged by other people is probably
Mhm.
the biggest one. People are afraid that if they start creating content on social media, that they kind of have to take on this new persona or that they're now an influencer, right? And that's just not the case now. People have the ability to anybody has the ability to pop on social media and again, just be yourself and talk about your business and talk about your clients and promote your business. Like that's another thing. People are very afraid to promote themselves and to
Yeah.
promote their business, right? So, people feel salesy or sleazy or slimy or one of the many S words that people feel when they, you know, are promoting themselves online. But the truth is like, again, if you're just talking from your experience and sharing your insights and ideas, it's so much different than like if you're just like going on ChatGPT and looking up the top 3 tips and then regurgitating it
Right.
to the audience, right?
Right.
So, if you really speak from your experience, that is the best way to create content and you should feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm going to share a funny story with you because this is how social media really does work, right? And I'm going to ask you for a hack in a minute.
Of course.
I am not afraid to put content out there, and I've put lots and lots of it, and it feels as if the things that like that are meaningful and I know people would benefit from get like 14 views. And I once got 3 million views for flaring my nostrils. There was a trend on, I'm sure it was TikTok, but then it got onto Instagram, and I was like, I can do that. And so I flared my nose, 3 million views, the dumbest thing ever. And so I guess where my question is going is, how do you prevent the frustration of, you know what, 14 people saw it where nobody would have otherwise, so I should be pleased that 14 people saw it versus the things that just take off. How do you encourage people to recognize that you didn't have a room full of 300 before, but you did today, right? Like, how do you help people stay encouraged?
Yeah, it's not necessarily about how many people are seeing the content that you're putting out there, as opposed to like how many of the right people are seeing it,
Right.
right? So, especially when you run a business, like going viral is not really the goal that you're looking for.
No.
Especially like, if you're like a local business, that's obviously not what you're looking for. But anybody that's, trying to work with higher ticket clients or whatever it is, whether that's consulting, coaching, an agency, a service-based company, like anybody that's looking to attract those types of, higher ticket clients, like going viral and trying to get millions of followers and trying to get millions of views is a very like difficult path. So the way that you need to handle it is you need to take advantage of the people that are interacting with you.
Yeah.
And you know, I forget where I heard this, but I love it. It's the more hands you shake, the more money you make, right?
Mhm.
And that's the way it works on social media. So if people are, interacting with your content, what you need to do is figure out a way to start and engage in a conversation with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. So whether that's, I use LinkedIn as my primary channel to reach my clients through, basically because of my B2B sales
Sure.
background, but also just because of the return on investment on LinkedIn versus some of the other platforms. But one of the advantages of having LinkedIn is you can see who viewed your profile. And I can reach out to every single person that viewed my profile and say, hey, I noticed that you stopped by my profile. And was there anything in particular that landed you there? Right.
Art.
And it's just a way to start a conversation that doesn't come off salesy. You're not jumping down their throat with the pitch slap or whatever. Right. Again, you're just like starting a conversation that could ultimately open the door for you to do business and get opportunities. And that's the way that you need to approach it. Is it's just get your stuff in front of the right people. And the other thing is like if the right people aren't seeing it like organically, put it in front of them.
Yeah.
Send it to them.
Yeah.
Send them a post that says, "Hey, I made this post or I made this video and I thought of you."
That's a really good idea. Yeah. I don't think we ask enough of the direct questions. Like, we just hope, and I'm saying we people just hope that it will get to the people that it's meant to get to. But the reality is you have to be a little more strategic than that. And sometimes you have to guide it into the right hands, right?
It's also that and making sure that you're talking about the right topics that are going to resonate with those people, right?
Right.
So, people typically, for content ideas or whatever, it's like, oh, I think my audience would be interested in this topic or whatever. No, it's like we got to actually like go and research the topics that people are interested in, right? So like you can research, from social media by finding people that are in a similar niche that have a similar audience to you. But the best way to research is the conversations that you're already having. We're all on Zoom all the time, right? So whether you're doing sales calls or whether you're doing a client consultation or whatever it is, you're probably recording it on Zoom. And if you or you have you're probably doing it on Zoom
Right.
and you should be recording it. We have all these Fathom Note Taker and all these great tools now that actually do that for you and give you a nice transcript and all that, right?
Yep.
So if you can take your transcript and plug it in, and analyze that transcript, and say, hey, what are some of the things that we talked about in this conversation? Like, what are some of the questions that this person asked me that, come up that might be relevant to other people in my audience? And that's where all your content ideas should come from. Like all of my content ideas come from sales calls and client calls that I've been on.
Makes
Everything.
total sense. Well, and then it goes back to what you said about being authentic. I wrote it down specifically. You basically said speak from the heart, right? Like, so
Yeah,
talk about the things that you have experience in and not the things that ChatGPT told you should be
totally.
talking about. And that kind of brings that full circle, which I just love. And you are clearly very well versed in this space, and you have also lived it from the other side, right? As a salesman, as a sales leader, you know how to market, you know how to get people to buy what you're selling, if you will. And so now you're helping other people do that. But again, I just think it's very cool. So I have to ask you my favorite question, because I feel like you went from maybe not doing this in your daily life to doing it a little bit more daily in the last 2.5 years. And that's, how would you define productive joy?
How would I define
I know.
productive?
There are no wrong answers. Let me tell you.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
There are
So
good answers.
yes. So to me, it's doing anything that gets me closer to a goal. And at the same time, I actually do enjoy doing it.
Mhm.
Right. So for example, like doing the film sessions that I do with my clients to me is productive joy. Well, for most of my clients, 99% of them.
Like, no, aren't there that
Yeah,
you're like, oh,
we've always got those couple, but no. For the most part, I mean, I'm blessed to have like a really good group of clients, but that stuff makes me happy. Like making content, like filming videos, like that makes me really happy. Some of the like admin stuff does not necessarily make
right.
me really happy. It's productive, but there's not really that much joy in it. So like those are the kind of things that you delegate, right? The stuff that like could potentially be productive, but doesn't really bring you joy. That like that's a really good like ad for delegation.
100%, because the things that don't bring you joy might bring that person joy, right?
Of
We
course.
all have a different definition, which is why I asked the question. And I have so much fun getting the answers, because every one of them have had a nuance that made it different. And yet we all know that it's something we seek, right? Productive joy is something we're looking for, but we all have a slightly different definition. And so what you just said about, okay, if it's productive, but it doesn't bring me joy, who can do it where it would? I think that's the key to creating more of it, because that's always my follow-up question is, okay, so if that's your definition of productive joy, how do you help create it in your workspace? How do you help get to the point where those around you are experiencing productive joy?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole like purpose of what I do is people for business owners specifically, for a lot of them, content creation is not like a joy. It's not something that they're excited to do, but it should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when people come and work with me, it's fun. Like
Yeah.
they have a good time. Like they show up excited. I have a really good testimonial that a guy made for me, and he's like, I hated making videos. He's like, I would try to make a video. I would do all these things. I would spend an hour, and then at the end of it, I would scrap it because I hated it. And he's like, and now he's like, I come in, he's like, and I hang out with you for 45 minutes. He's like, I get 8 videos. And he's like, and it's like, I look forward to it. He's like, it was like one of the best parts of my week. Right. So, again, it's putting people into a place and a state of comfort and and again and just of joy, I guess, and just be and I have to say that that's probably something that I have been blessed with. Like that's a little bit of a natural talent that I have for just being somebody who's very easy to speak to,
Yeah.
right? And I'm glad that I was able to find something that, fits my skill set and my natural abilities very well, that also translates to, helping my clients achieve their goals at the same time.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I think that's the genuine definition of productive joy is using your unique genius to help others be able to get to their preferred destination, whatever that destination might be. And I think we sometimes shy away from that because we think it won't make any money or it won't translate into a job, a real job, right? And then the reality is that it absolutely does, and you can enjoy work. So, my whole philosophy and the reason productive joy exists is because I don't think that work and fun should be mutually exclusive. I actually think they have to happen together because we quit things that aren't fun. We do not go to a movie a second time if we hated it the first time, but we ask people to come back to work day after day in misery. Why? Our brains only fire neurons when there's some sort of emotion tied to what we're doing. And what you're doing is you are evoking emotion in your people so that they can be authentic on camera and they can actually share the great things that they have inside them. It's a beautiful marriage of work and fun. And so well done. That makes you a perfect productive joy guest.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you. I'm glad. And I like the way we kind of came to that mutual definition together.
Yeah, that was good teamwork. Absolutely good teamwork. So I am fascinated by what you do, and I am sure others will be too. So what's the best way for people to find you if they wanted to, pick your brain or employ you?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to find me is on LinkedIn. It's Danny DelVecchio. I'm very easy to find. You can find my profile. I got my hat. I probably have my hat on to the side. It's my kind of signature look that I've been trying to ease out of a little bit. I'm trying to like keep it, but also
It'd be
give the other
funny if
look as
we
well.
accidentally
Yes.
brand ourselves with some things that we maybe didn't mean to.
No, no, it's not that I didn't need to. It was very intentional in the beginning, but I'm trying to like change it up a little bit too.
Yeah,
I'm almost tired of it a little bit.
I
And
understand.
I guess I'm just growing up a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But yes, no,
And if we
you can
have to
find me on
revolve,
LinkedIn or, if you'd like to check out some of the work, it's on video on easymode.com. I have some samples and stuff like that. And it's got some behind the scenes videos of how the whole process works and everything too.
well, I think it's fascinating. And I love that you took all the things that you loved and all the things that you realized you were good at and you turned them into your daily work. And that I know people listening really want that for themselves too. And so you're an inspiration to those of us that are looking at things and going, yeah, but I'm really good at this thing. How do I turn this thing into something that I can do and get paid for it? And that's what you're doing. And I think it's beautiful. So well done to you for all of
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. And it didn't come easy and it took a while too. So that you have to have patience and you have to be you have to be okay with failure and you have to be okay with, some ups and downs in the business and trying to figure things out. Like I said, I started out as a coach and it turns into this niche agency that I've built. So, like I said, it's there's an evolution there, and it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes resilience. So, anybody that is trying to find that thing, it's not going to come very easily.
No, you have to put in the reps. And I think that's one thing about Gen Z. So I'm the mother of 3 24-year-olds. I have twins, and then one of them is married. And just in talking to them and watching them, they're constantly saying things like, well, I should be here by now. And I'm like,
Mm.
why? No, you shouldn't. You are right where you belong and you have to put in the reps. You're not just going to wake up and all of the sudden be, the expert in this space. You got to practice it. So I think it's that reminder, and I think it's an important one that we don't just arrive in these spaces, we work for them. And people think we've arrived, but they didn't get to see all of the stuff that we had to do to get here.
Right, right, totally.
Ah, so I have some rapid fire questions for you before I let you go.
Ooh, let's go. Let's go.
I'm so excited. Okay, no wrong answers. First question. What is your definition of fun?
Anything that makes me smile.
Yeah, good answer. Okay. How do you know that you're showing up as your authentic self?
Well, just speaking from your own experience.
Well, and you're practicing what you preach on that. So
Mm.
good job. Good job. How do
A
you
lot of people though
wait, go ahead, go ahead. A lot of people don't what?
don't follow that.
No, they hear something and they go, "Oh, that sounds good. I'll do that one. That's
Yes.
me." And you're right. We do all like I'm the only one who's ever walked in my shoes. So I get to bring something really special to the table if I choose to, or I regurgitate what everybody else thinks.
Yeah,
And
especially in the world of AI, it's even more important to speak from your own
yeah,
experiences.
yeah, definitely. Okay, how do you channel your best self on your worst days?
Ooh, I'm gonna like give an answer that people don't really like,
That's okay.
which is sometimes you just have to tough it out.
Mhm.
Like, I don't believe in like, oh, let's take today off because I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah,
It's like, no, I think sometimes you have to really push through and be resilient sometimes.
I would say all the time, right? Like, don't
Yeah.
have to dig
Yeah.
deep to find I mean, some days it's easier than others, but yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. All right, last question, tough question. Of all the brilliant things that you've said in the last 30 minutes, what's the one that you really want people to hold on to?
Yeah, it's that you definitely do not need to be an influencer in order for you to benefit from creating content. A content creator, people kind of cringe at the term content creator and then they cringe a little bit more at the term influencer, right?
Yeah,
And, in order to there's a lot of potential for people when it comes to social media and there's a lot of ways that it could really help your business. Like without social media, I wouldn't have a business, right? So don't feel like you have to be pigeonholed into being this influencer in order to, reap the benefits of making content and being, and building a presence online.
yeah. It's more about some other things that you said that I'm going to repeat in just a moment. But friends, I need you to tune in right now because he just dropped gold. It is not about being an influencer. It's about getting in front of the right people. So you should speak from experience. You should get the right people to see what it is that you're putting out there, even if you have to place it in front of them, and then take advantage of the people that are engaging with you so that you can get to your desired end destination, whatever that might be. And if you need a little help, we know a guy. So, Danny, thank you so much for being on Productive Joy today. And thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. You were a true delight.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
All right. And listeners, now it's your turn. You got to do something with this information. Otherwise, you wasted the last 30 minutes of your life. And that is really quite silly. We don't have that kind of time. So grab something that you're going to use right away and figure out today how you are going to turn fun into action.